I gotta make these transitions smoother. Sorry about that, boys. Well, welcome to the fucking show. Nick Nilsson here with the Unists. Coming in a little bit hot there. Let's see. Welcome to the motherfucking show. Boys, welcome to Northlander. Likes the tune it. Oh, I guess I don't have the chat up here. What happened to that? Do I have to do this? Should I go here?
And I'm sure you didn't even know, did you?
All right. Let's do it this way then. We'll do it live. Sorry for the ramshackle setup here, boys. This is a live ass stream. Let's fucking go, boys. Yes. Northlander says likes the tunage, kind of indie. Yeah, Bear versus Shark. I was gonna play because, boys, I have to establish my punk credibility here. We are going into the trenches, right? We are today looking back at the punk rock subreddits, punk rock and punk rock fashion. Let's fucking go. Yeah, Bear vs. Shark. Okay, so I wanted to play intro that establishes my punk credibility. I guess I failed outright, but this is my thinking, right? Or let me set things up just for a moment, right? We'll get the chat on screen. Here we go. Say hello to the boys. Ladies and gentlemen. Let me set up my desktop here. Hope this works. Without doxing my Jewish name here. How do we do this? Okay. This will have to do. Let me sort this out. Beautiful. It almost looks real, guys. I was going to play this song. You guys remember the fucking Refuse? How great was it when this album came out? Hopefully this works. This album fucking rocks, right? And I was like, let me play this. And the video's cool. And then I saw it has almost 9 million views, right? And Epitaph, right? All the real punks know that Epitaph is not true punk, right? That's mainstream punk, right? Epitaph? Give me Hellcat before Epitaph, bro. But even still, this song fucking rocks. But 9 million, I mean, come on. That's way too mainstream. Okay, so punk as fuck, right? Nobody can deny that, right? Bear versus Shark, yeah, a little bit indie. I call it post-hardcore, right? Bear versus Shark, though, again, the name, cringe as hell, bro. You can't be listening to a band named Bear versus Shark. That's like, you might as well listen to a band called Mustard Ninja, right? Or Mustache Wolf. That's like peak late 2000s, whatever, like, bacon chicken, bacon monkey humor, right? Bear versus Shark, whatever. But post-hardcore is peak post-hardcore. I definitely recommend checking out. Refuse, though. Refuse is at the height. Do I have this over here? Yes. The height of Swedish punk, boy. Tjenare! And again, you can tell they're Swedish, right? Just from this. But this is also like the vibe. Well, punks maybe today could vibe with this look. But yeah, this is like, they dress basically like My Chemical Romance, or even like, they dress like Weezer, essentially. But this was punk, bro. What can I say? Yo, Gigi Allen. All right, so Gigi Allen, I gotta say, maybe this disqualifies me outright. Never a fan of the music. So, I don't know. Well, do we really want to talk music, or do we want to talk the absolute state of punk, that what passes as punk today? It hits me so deep in the soul, I had to write a fucking paper about it.
Oh my God!
How punk is that? Writing a paper? That's punk, bro. That's where the real battle happens. In the, halls of academia, I'm guessing. Because that is essentially how you're winning hearts and minds these days. The paper, I'll go into it. That's probably where I'm going to lose most people. I'll hopefully read it quickly. Maybe I'll do a funny voice. You don't know. Stick around for that. But the idea essentially is that I want to kind of prove with that, or at least it adds to the point in some sense that rebellion starts at home, is how I understand punk. There's too many things to get into, boys. I should have prepared better for this one. But I'll back up by saying this. Last night, I said, you know what? Let's take another look at these punk rock subreddits. Let me do another video in the same vein as the Reviewing Punk subreddit that I did before. There are a few people that seem to like it. And hey, I can speak for hours on punk. And just music in general. But I took one look at it, and in the first few posts, I got so caught up. I was apoplectic. I was convulsing. I was foaming at the mouth for just how alienating it is to look at what passes for punk today. So much so, I had to take a lukewarm bath and write out a paper that will hopefully win the hearts and minds of whoever is not yet so ideologically possessed that they hold on to what passes for rebellion today. Because that is the crux, ladies and gentlemen. To whatever extent you might view me as the enemy, as the embodiment of fascism, supremacism, being white, guilty, not of the other things, but being white, guilty is charged, bro. I don't think you can come back from that in today's world.
Oh my God!
What did I want to say? But despite those things, I was once like you. I was in the pit. I threw elbows. I never went to the Vans Warped Tour. That's how punk I was. That was way too normy for me even. I don't know. Does anybody care about establishing punk credentials? No. I'll just suffice it to say I was punk as fuck, right? I had jackets. I had, what do they call them? Bondage pants. Yes, literally. I sewed. I've left concerts covered in blood. Not feces, though. That's the thing. I'm not a G.G. Allen fan in some sense for the feces, right? At a certain point, like, you do heroin, that's punk, strangely. Like, Leftover Crack, it was one of my favorite bands, Choking Victim, of course. And they're hardcore blasphemers and drug addicts, vagabonds. But the music fucking rocks, dude. Like, nobody can deny Choking Victim is one of the sickest. Their album, what is it? What's the name of the album? No Gods, No Managers is whatever. Nobody cares. Like, I'm punk. Is basically what I'm saying, right? Yeah, but who is not punk? That's what we're gonna look at today. And bros, I can't even look at the post. There's a juicy ass post that just came out, and do I really want to go into it today? Man, that's a question. Well, let's without further ado, let's get this figured out. Okay. Whoops. Punk rock fashion. This is where it all begins. Alright, so don't be fooled by this, boys. You may think a little bit of tasty cake. We've got some caked up punks over here. This is quite definitely a dude, I'm guessing. This is for sure not a woman. If anything I know about the punks on this subreddit, this is definitely a dude, right? Yeah. Because obviously a chick would show more than the least feminine thing about... the lower back is, I guess, kind of feminine, but yeah. This is not how you rock it. I'm not falling for it. You are not going to catch me. Yep, this is probably also a dude. I'm not even... Yep, I can see the bulge right there. But this passes for punk, actually. I'm going to certify this punk.
Oh shit! Oh shit! Oh shit!
Nausea, never a fan. Chat, tell me, did you guys like Nausea? I wasn't that big on them, but that I think Nausea is a little bit more metal. I know we got some fans here that are metal heads. When I, not to reveal too much of my, what do you say, industry plant status, but when I lived in Europe, fancy lad, when I lived in Europe for a while, they didn't really have, there was a few punks in Europe, in the country that I was in, but mostly metalheads. That was the most vibrant scene at the time. Metal in Europe, Northern Europe, is huge. So most of my friends during high school were metalheads. I wasn't a huge metal fan myself. Again, I'm that punk rock baby, right? Let's take a look at this. Yeah, so Megadeth, I never listened to Megadeth. Bro, I'm so sorry. Rancid, that was my wheelhouse when I was a baby, when I was a fucking kid. But I still fuck with Rancid, right? Nobody can deny they've got some good stuff. And then the most punk band ever, Fish, right? We're all fucking with Fish, right? Was it Descendants? I never really got into those. Batman, he was pretty cool. I like his solo stuff. Mothman, I don't know. And the Misfits, bro. Okay, so there was where was this? Was this on the punk? Where was this? I saw this, I think, on the punk rock. So we're looking at punk rock fashion right now, right? But there was a post I saw that was like, whoa, this is pretty cool. This is a pretty cool graphic. But then I read the headline. Oh, how come I can't find this? Punk rock. What? How do they not have new posts? Maybe it's r/punk? Okay, yeah. Oh my gosh. All right. Let's go. This dude. He looks like fucking... Doesn't he look like that guy, that Iranian general that we killed? Doesn't he? Am I tripping? Yeah, look at this guy. Right? I mean, am I crazy? Is that a match? Alright, whatever. But guys, there's so much stuff. We got to keep going. This I can't get hung up on this General, what's his name? General Soleimani. With the Palestinian flag. Now, actually, Palestine, though, Palestine is maybe the one thing that I can give punks a pass on. Yeah, I don't know. Like, again, I'm maybe it's too much to get into right now, but I think Palestine is one thing that I think is probably still integral or authentic to what I perceive as as punk, right? Northlander said I was new metal, unfortunately, bro. We all fuck with new metal. Don't knock it, bro. I mean, obviously, that's like early years, but fucking Korn and Limp Bizkit, bro. New metal is bomb. I love it. Don't hate, bro. Don't. No shame in the new metal game. Nazi Musk, fuck off though. Yeah, so. Do I want to get into it? All right, guys. I will have to take a brief break for this just to sort of make my... Well, should we look at the worst example first? Yeah, I'm going to do it. I'm going to talk about something that I damn near lost my mind over when I saw this in the punk rock fashion subreddit. It was not the fish patch on this jacket. Or the Grateful Dead. This punk has to be at least 60 years old. My first jacket, and you're putting the Grateful Dead on it? Alright, whatever. This, too, is like... You don't want to do this. This is way too much stuff. Like, just from an aesthetic point of view, the patches are way too small. You want maybe, I want to say tops 8 to 10 patches. And how many is this? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, 26, 28. It's like 30 patches. That's way too much on just the back. You want like maybe 8 to 10. And you want them larger than this. This is like a fucking mosaic. for how small this shit is. And this is some shit in French. Le croix de nom jamais. Laissez gons fricamont gems bones push de la Mathios. All right, that sounds punk to me, bro. But yes, the Dead Milkmen, bro. While I maybe we'll get some background music playing while I go through this. Yeah, so here was the Bear vs. Shark track that I played, Catamaran, which only has a quarter or a fourth of a million from 17 years ago. What a great album. But if you like the Dead Milkmen, this is one of their best songs. Oh, damn. Oh, I guess because I switched the sources. You currently cannot hear it. Let me see. Bear with me, ladies and gentlemen, as I sort this issue out. Here we go. All right. All right, that should look... Oh, whoops. Gotta figure out the layering. Momento. Come on. Why is it still on top of the thing? Come on! Alright, almost. There we go. Now this should work. Well, I can't turn the... apparently can't turn the volume down for me. It's only turning it down for you guys. That probably doesn't make sense unless you are hearing what I'm hearing. But there we go. Alright. So hopefully that is not overbearing, but we'll keep that going while we look at stuff. Okay, what? Touring Australia with the Sex Pistols was horrendous. Seeing the audience do the Nazi salutes really wore me down, and Johnny Rotten didn't say anything. Look at this dude. Look at this dude. What's so interesting about this, I think we talked about this, if not in the actual video or the short video that I put, then maybe on the second channel, on the big Nick Nilsson channel, I think I put out a longer form hour video of the punk rock thing, where I think talk about this, right? Which is the Sex Pistols themselves wore swastika t-shirts. The whole idea behind that, or even one of my favorite bands, Reagan Youth. Look at this album. How full on is this, right? Imperial Wizards. So the idea back in the 80s when they put this out, the idea was not that they were in the Klan. The whole idea, and this says sponsored by the David Duke Appreciation Society. Now you gotta say, these are clearly Nazis that put out this album, right? And it says Reagan Youth. They must be the brown shirts for the Reagan administration, right? Reaganomics! Let's fucking put on a tie and go to the banquet hall. Die, commie, die, right? No, it's the opposite. The whole idea of punk in this sense is holding a mirror up to the status quo and saying, you created this. My parents were, in some sense, complicit with the Nazis, right? And in some sense, well, at least when I was a kid, communism was a similar thing, right? You would wear, like a hammer and sickle. At least when I don't know. Maybe I'm just speaking for myself in this sense. But the whole idea is like these are the atrocities of the past to remind people of, or you just associate yourself with symbols for power, right? And even though I guess I eventually did become a Marxist in that sense, and definitely a leftist for sure. Just because that's part of the culture itself. The idea of the iconography, at least, is that you are just sort of holding it up to people. These people are not in and of themselves supporting these things. These dudes were punk as fuck. This song rules. My goddamn daughter's missing too. Talking about illiteracy. That's punk, right? Man, what's their song though? The first song is New Aryans? No, it's the first one. What's the first one? Maybe it is just called Reagan Youth. Yeah, I think it is. Yes. And they say Sieg Heil in this song. They say Sieg Heil. We are Reagan Youth, Sieg Heil. Again, this is not a conservative band. The whole idea is to say, listen, we're holding up I already said it. We're holding up a mirror to the society. Whatever. All right. What do we want to get back to? Yeah, let's look at some more punk, and then I'll read my paper. You guys will like this paper. I know I'm kind of short selling it, or not. I'm underselling it, but bro, this paper is fucking. It's Kino. It's a Kino ass paper for sure. What is this? Hagrid? Is this Hagrid? I'm sorry. This is probably a nice lady. I'm sorry, ma'am. Ma'am, I'm sorry. Classic punk look. Nobody can deny it without even getting into anything. Oh, so this is going to be a Mohawk retrospective. Oh, DOA. That's punk. And I like these too. I like these metal pins. I don't know what they call them, but that's classy. I've got a few of those myself. Okay. The Liberty Spikes, right? I think that's what... No, that is Mohawk. Yeah. Interesting. Yeah. Good stuff. Good stuff. Yeah, see, this is what I don't get is this must be like a European thing. Wide ass pants. Even back in the early 2000s, like skinny jeans are fuck off. Punks pioneered it. Everyone says Kanye West was the first. Maybe he brought it to hip hop. Punks were rocking skinny jeans before anybody else. That's a claim to fame, boy. Arden Cobb says, making breakfast right now. Do you peel your potatoes or are you adults? Bro, don't bring that here. Bro, this is a sacred place.
Oh my God!
I'm talking about peeling potatoes, bro. Not cool. But what does that mean? Do you peel your potatoes or are you adults? Don't you mean do you not peel? Wouldn't peeling them make you an adult? If you peel them yourself instead of not doing it, which would be childish? Bro, you're here to throw me off my game, Arden. I'm not fucking with it. This jacket, though, fucking rules. Bro, nobody can deny that. This kicks ass. This is fucking cool. I could never wear this. I think the fringe and plus the full studded vest, that's a bold ass look. But yeah, okay, this was it. Can't spell Danzig without Nootzi. Here we have, and that's clever, I do have to say. You literally can't. So that's funny and that's creative, but just by having the black sun, like again, are we retroactively calling Buddhists Nazis? I understand time doesn't work that way. Obviously, anyone before the 30s and 40s, I guess 20s, who used the swastika wouldn't necessarily be implicated. Many people after, right? But what about this? If Danzig is a Nazi, what about Hitler ice cream? Is this a Nazi? Does this look like what a Nazi would eat? Come on. Is this the face of Nazism today? Selling Hitler ice cream cones? No. Dare I say no, sir.
Oh shit! Oh shit! Oh shit!
Let's get back to it. Oh wait, this is the r/punk. Yeah, this thing sucks. Like r/punk is technically. What is this? All right, that's funny. That's fucking funny. But yeah, this is okay, so this guy's bemoaning this. Whoever did this to Danzig, my hero. That's funny. And it's clearly pissed off punks because in one graphic, probably once, he uses this vaguely Aryan symbol. Like, again, to what extent are you then at that point enfranchising Nazism by ceding territory to them? That anybody who uses even, I don't know, any kind of runes or any kind of very powerful esoteric or just even folklore symbols is now suddenly damned and doomed to wreak the havoc of shrieking leftists. Damn, I'm hyped for that paper too. Stick around for that. Yeah, sharps, like again, sharps, I don't have any issue with sharps necessarily. It is funny though. I don't know. It's just a weird thing. Like, again. And then straight edge. I guess if you're a straight edge, you have to identify yourself as a sharp. Which is skinheads against racial prejudice, right? And again, why be a skinhead, though, if there's not a... I never really got it, you know? Like, in some sense, it's like somebody who dressed in drag but didn't want to be known as... Or maybe I'm guilty as the same thing people are accusing Danzig of. Like, you know, like... People can be skinheads without being racist, but then why can't Danzig not be a Nazi for using the black sun, right? You tell me. Harsh look. Operation Ivy, not punk, but Black Flag. Black Flag would be a good punk name, though. Disarm, chat, tell me, have you guys ever heard of Disarm? Never heard of that? It must be new or regional. I've never... What is that? Passive? Passique? Is this Canadian? Punk. Certified punk. Smoking is punk for sure. I wonder how many punks vape, though. Is vaping punk? Surely not, right? To sip on a coconut Long Island iced tea flavored vape thing? That can't be punk, right? But then again, you're supporting the tobacco industry. Well, I don't know. I don't think punks really have a contiguous ethic like that. In some sense, it's better to support the tobacco industry for all of its, I suppose, historic injustices, maybe? Did they use tobacco for slavery? Slavery for tobacco? I don't know. But, yeah, surely it would make more sense to vape. Oh, who fucking cares? Let's keep going, guys. Fugazi, punk, minor threat. Minor threat is peak punk, guys. I think I talked about this in the previous video. But this is one of the dopest punk rock songs which endures today. Yeah, and so the story behind this is basically, I think Minor Threat is from the DMV, right? Or from DC, which is predominantly black. If you guys know, the DMV is thoroughly diverse. Or not diverse. It's majority black, I think. And so, in some sense, that could be tough for a white kid who is surrounded by people who understand the world in a specific way. Let's just say that. Yes, Ghostal says, Bad Religion is good. The rest is cringe. Bad Religion, nobody can deny. Suffer is one of the GOAT albums. Rusty Shackelford, who let this guy in? Rusty, you're about to get me pissed, boy. I'm about to go to work on you. Punks have lost their way and are cringe now. Well, see, there we agree, Rusty. Let's break bread again. I think I've been a little bit harsh on you in the past, but on that we agree. You know, I think I'm turning it around. I think this could be the start of a beautiful friendship between me and you, Rusty. For all the times you've trolled me, called me gay, said I was gay, said I did gay things with gay people. Really just kind of humiliated me publicly. I think on this fact we can agree. I think I'm ready to open my heart to you. And then Rusty also says, don't they know the best way to do social critique is to isolate on the internet and shake it for super chats? Damn you, Rusty! Damn you! I've fallen into your trap again! God damn this!
Oh my God! Oh shit! Oh my God! Oh my God!
Damn you, Rusty! Damn you! Yes. Oh, fuck. I also chat. Alright. Bros feel like Zukov from Death of Stalin with all these patches. Bro, right? For real. What is that? Let's get this Indian Hitler guy away. Yes. Bro. Castoris knows it, bro. Castoris for the win. Bro. And I haven't even got to the best one. Let's kind of wrap it up, guys. I've already been online way too long. Rusty Shackelford has pantsed me in front of my greatest friends. In front of all of my sincere internet friends. Damn you, Rusty. Today, I've threatened it before in the past, but I'm going to ban Rusty. Rusty, you're banned. Or ban yourself. That'll show you. All right, guys, let's get into the Pistols de Resistance. I've been saving this. If you saw the thumbnail, if you clicked for the thumbnail, bro, hold the fuck on. Where is this? I don't want to... Well, am I going to be reserved in this? No. Okay, here we go. Protest fit. Actually, will I be able to... Okay. Look at this dude. Look at this dude. Yeah, this shit is kind of hard to read. Let me see if I can get a little bit closer here. Okay. So let's take a look at the frontage area first of this absolute punk. Whoops. Look at this punk. He does have a kind of Ian MacKaye, Minor Threat kind of look to him, right? But what do his billboard pants say, right? Yeah, bro, this picture sucks. Okay, hold on. God damn. Why would you make yourself so small in this picture? All right. So here at the bottom, whoops. Queer. You know, it used to be that there were, I won't even go into it. There were other people though that put whatever. And then here at the bottom, fuck Muska. Chad Muska? Bro, that's one of the coolest, chillest skaters alive. Why would you say fuck Muska? He had probably one of the best shoes on the market. Damn. Oh, wait, no, it's just fuck Musk, right? Obviously. Well, fuck. Well, dude, what a shock, right? And this one, too. So I have to admit, like, I'm not saying this for the first time. This was the, when I saw this, I had basically a meltdown. I couldn't believe it. Maybe I'll release that video later, but free abortions on demand. How are you in what sense are you the good guy in that sense? I guess, again, these people have no idea of Margaret Sanger, or maybe they buy into the revisionism that goes on for Planned Parenthood in general. Margaret Sanger was the founder of Planned Parenthood, virulent racist, which, you know, to each their own, but she made a concerted effort. She was a Nazi sympathizer, very much a fan of what was going on in Germany. And she was huge on sterilization and eugenics. That was her whole motivation for Planned Parenthood. And it's not only enshrined in the ethos and outreach of that program, which aborts more black babies than any other. It's a primarily eugenics program against black Americans. But also, in her time, against disabled people, anyone kind of with infirmities, especially of people of low IQ. She did not want them to reproduce. Maybe she was right. Maybe she was right. Who knows? But with free abortions on demand, bro, in what sense do you perceive yourself as the good guy, right? And it functions on the same thing. Is this a patch on the back? I think this patch is a patch we're gonna see later. Yeah, I can't even. There's too much to get into. But all I'll say is this: in what sense do you become an apparatchik? What is it called? Apparatchik? Whatever. Just some kind of stoolie for the medical industrial complex. At what point do you become essentially just a mouthpiece for a burgeoning medical industry that seeks only to profit off of human misery? And eugenics in multiple ways, right? Not only eugenics directly via birth control and abortions, etc., but also eugenics, perhaps for the better, perhaps I'm on their side in this sense, for people that are chemically castrated, hormonally, and medically, procedurally. In what sense is that not eugenics, boys? I ask you that. And in what sense are you really just the brown shirts for a medical industrial complex? We'll see more evidence of that later. Yeah, free abortions on demand, kill transphobes, right? And you've got here, this is I think Divine from the John Waters movie. I think, right? And then, is this the fucking Offspring? Right here. Is this the Offspring? I think so. Bro, how are you punk if you have an Offspring patch? That is not punk, bro. That is, I don't know. It's not punk, right? Even the first album, I'll give it that. I'll give them that, right? First album, fine. But Pretty Fly for a White Guy, if we're going to rock a patch of that, get the fuck out. But it gets worse. Ladies and gentlemen, if this was all we were talking about, I would have said, hey, maybe it's worth missing the stream. But this is not all there is. We have... Look at this. Look at this. Zukov be damned, right? Look at this fucking NASCAR uniform that this guy has. Is this shit real? Bro, and so I was shocked. 49%, and Norlander says, 49% tariff on punk. Make your punk here and avoid the cost. Based. I'm for that. Nativist punk movement. Hell yeah. That, which is authentically punk. Might I add? Hey, I'm back here, by the way. Might I add? Let me, with this absolute visage of, I mean, look, do we really even have to get into it? Let's just start at the fucking bottom, bro. Let's just start at the bottom, okay? Sin Shake Sin is a band. Oh, maybe I judged this fool too soon. No gods, no managers. Or no god... Oh, wait a minute. Oh, no. Is that the... No gods, no masters. Okay, no. For a minute, I thought it was... How do I do this? Look at this dude. Look at this dude. Yes, this is this guy. For real. For real. Where do we go? I thought it was this. No Gods, No Manager. Okay, that's the Choking Victim album. This album rules. If you guys like, and especially for the metal fans, I know there's at least one or two here. This, all right, well, that's not a, I'm not making the case there, but, yeah, Choking Victim was a little bit more ska. Leftover Crack, though, is a little bit more metal. Yeah, I think this is one of theirs.
Introducing for your listen.
Vaguely metal, right? Vaguely metal. I know, but I know metalheads will fuck with it. But no God. So No Gods, No Managers obviously is a play on No Gods, No Masters, right? Which is a communist thing. It's a Leninist Marxist thing. But yeah, in the chat here, Chad Ghostal says final boss. This is absolutely final boss status, bro. I may have to upload that shit as well. Do we even want to? Oh, there's too much to get into, because I actually looked at this guy's. What else does this motherfucker post, right? When you see his screen name too, you won't believe it. You will not believe it. Heartland Goat says, they say that a hanging man hears glorious music. I wonder what it sounds like. Yeah, well, there's not too much gloriousness here today. Heartland Ghost, I can tell you that. This is a little bit more crusty. There's a definite crust to today's selections, but it must be indulged in order to establish the credentials, at least. But yes, let's look at the final boss here, ladies and gentlemen. So again, No Gods, No Managers. Andrew Tate is a rapist. He facilitates rape. Well, rape, I don't know about that. I don't vilify Andrew Tate, but he's no friend of mine. Let's just say that. And he's very much wrapped up with PDFs, convicted PDFs, who Candace Owen, like again, I know people enjoy Candace Owen, but she goes to bat for Tate in every sense. I think the idea essentially is that, what's up, Machine Lies, bro? Thanks for joining the stream. I think that in some sense, Andrew, this has been said before, I think. This is not an original idea, but Candace Owens' husband is surely being, extorted or blackmailed by Andrew Tate, because they've been longtime homies, and she goes to bat for everyone, defending any PDF that is involved with Andrew Tate, completely dick riding him. So I'm no fan of Tate, but I think he's a fucking creep, first of all. Misogynist, not even in a cool way, not even in a slick bad boy way, but just in a gross sleazeball degenerate way. I cannot abide degeneracy in that sense. Speaking of, the final boss. Normalize thinking you're fucking awesome. Okay, that's just cringe. That's not a bad thing. But here we're going to get a little bit of a hint on what's to come. It says here, the ancient Greeks think I'm... What does that say? Think I'm dumb and brutish. Now, why would they think that? Let's do it. Do a bit of digging. I want to see if this man is indeed a Kinaidos. Kinaidos. Yeah, so where is he pulling this quote from? I'm guessing that's what he's talking about, right? Okay, so the word itself, or some related word, Kinaidos, bestial, beastly, brutish, brute, ruffian. But Kinaidos, or Kinaidos, is not the same as Kinaidos, is it? Castorus. Wasn't Castorus in here earlier? Castorus polemistis. Aren't you Greek? Or are you Russian? Or whatever. Fuck. Whatever. Okay, so nobody came here for ancient Greek lessons, right? I know, I'm sorry. Let's get back to it. Okay, so Kinaidos and Kinaidosis and whatever. It's not the same. So whatever. Your patch makes no sense, dude, is what I'm saying. Fucking shit. Get back to it. And I'm going to read my dope-ass paper, guys. Let's fucking go. No war but class war. Bro, you're cringe. Felix, fucking Felix the cat thing that says, when injustice becomes law, resistance becomes duty. Very interesting about injustice becoming law, and in what sense resistance to that constitutes a rebellion of sorts. Very interesting. Yes, and follow your leader, right? There was, when I was involved as well in, Antifa. Yes, I was, did march with Antifa. As a fucking 15-year-old, there is similarly, this idea of, only an idiot follows a leader, or, a Führer. And stuff. It's entirely, it seems like a gotcha, right? Oh, you have a leader that you follow. Motherfucker, as opposed to what? As opposed to what? Right? Like, in what sense is nobody led by anybody? In some sense, it indulges in a bizarre pod style, eat the bugs, sleep in the pod, cowboy mindset, which essentially takes individualism to its bereft endpoint, which is everybody is their own leader. I don't need anybody else. Send me the DoorDash. I sleep in the pod in a city where nobody speaks the same language as me, and I don't follow anybody's leader. Unless it's Anthony Fauci, unless it's anything that comes down from the trans authority or transit authority or whatever. And anything that basically, anybody who runs afoul of my very strict, almost fascist allegiance to Marxist-Leninism. But this one nailed it. Proud super spreader of the woke mind virus. Ladies and gentlemen, does it get any better than that? Smash the patriarchy. Cheat on your Republican husband. Yes, I will hardcore judge you over your politics, actually. Well, I don't actually have a problem with that. In some sense, at least he's being transparent about it, right? But yes, fight intolerance. Unless we accuse them of intolerance, then we can fight them to no ends. Then they're the worst people ever. Black Lives Matter. Was there any suspicion that wouldn't be featured prominently here? Virginity is fake and only exists to shame women for having sex. Does it though? Does it though? Really? Okay. All right. Have your wife ran through by 1,000 dudes and tell me if virginity does exist or not, or chastity, or even just sexual ethics in terms of not just hoeing yourself out. Big Brother is watching you. Now that would be poignant if we didn't see vaccinated. A huge fucking patch that says vaccinated. And the Ukrainian flag. And then, did you guys see this one? Sober. I'd rather be a faggot than a fascist. Not believing in climate change is kind of cringe, not gonna lie. Bro, is this shit real? Is this shit real? Bisexual. Or is it what? Bihexual? Oh, it doesn't say bisexual. It says bihexual. Like a witch thing or something? Paganism or something? Cringe. And birds aren't real, bro. The cringe does not end. The cringe does not end. Hail Satan with the pride flag on it. Bro, are you really serving your causes at that point, right? Are you serving your own causes at that point? His clothes, yeah, Northlander puts the nail on the fucking head, bro. His clothes are too clean to be a true punk. Poser! Yes, bro. We know he's a Target-ass punk, right? He bought a fucking Ramones shirt from Target. This bitch is punk as a Green Day album. Get the fuck out. And did you guys see this one, too? The only good bug is a dead bug, right? That's a, what is it called? Starship Troopers reference. Which, how many layers of fucking irony and detachment is going on there, right? It's a Paul Verhoeven movie that is ostensibly made to be anti-fascist, but effectively comes off as pro-military for all of its, you know, I would say it doesn't go far enough as a parody to even legitimately exist in that space. Most people watched it, ended up, I don't want to say most people that watched it ended up joining the military, but many people who joined the military during that time cited Starship Troopers as exemplifying a world that they would want to inhabit. It cast essentially, you know, fucking a soap opera in space. Whatever. The book itself, though, in some sense, is not anti-fascist. The movie arguably has vaguely anti-fascist things, and so, I don't know. This patch makes no sense, basically. It's a shitty idea, shittily executed. Yeah, and the pentagrams, the Baphomet, you got some fucking fallopian tubes. I don't know what that is. Youngblood, I don't even know who this is. Let's figure this out. Real quick. I have to know. Oh my god. There's no fucking way.
Are you patient with me? Hello, 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 hello.
What the fuck? But I'm not surprised, right? I'm not surprised. Who else would rep that dude's music other than, wait for it. Oh fuck, I guess I gotta. Who else would do that other than user Himbo Vegan? Just really quickly, we could spend hours on this dude. I don't really care though, but just I thought it was funny that, you know, he's here repping his fucking Barbie ass final boss punk status. Absolute cringe, dude. Fucking cringe. And he goes to great pains to hide his fucking face. And we didn't even get into this fucking signs. Makes no sense. He's got some Luigi Mangione shit. It's fucking cringe. Get the fuck out. But just a few fucking places later, we see who this dude truly is. which I just thought it was just desserts to kind of see this. Oh, look at this delicious food. Yes, of course he's vegan, so blah blah blah. I don't necessarily even have an issue with vegans, but is this guy really? But look at this dude. Look at this dude. Wouldn't be. Again, that's a solid bro. I don't mind fucking with this guy. I don't know what's going on with his hearing aids, but he says, and this is, he posts in a body positive subreddit. He says, being jacked sucked. I felt sick and exhausted all the time. So I switched to cardio only and purposely lost most of my gains. I much prefer how I feel with my body like this. But if that was all there is, like, again, whatever. You know, again, to each their own. But, where is it? Oh, yeah, there's so much, shit. What is this? That has to be a reference to something, bro. Hamilton Morris, bro, that's fucking cringe. I like Hamilton Morris, but making a patch out of him, you're fucking cringe, dude. Where is it? Oh yeah, this was ironic too. Hey, as long as we're talking about it, is there anything I should know about the following artists before I put their stuff on my jacket/pants? So he's crowdsourcing his opinions on, hey guys, have any of these people run afoul of the thought police lately? Is there anything that might damage my pristine woke credibility? Even the dude he ended up putting on his jacket. Hey, does this guy pass the purity test, first of all? And it turns out, yeah, just trying to avoid having to use my seam ripper. Bro, because you wouldn't want me to have to rip out my seam ripper and take the fucking 300 patches that I have on my outfit off. Get fucked. Yeah, so Harlan Goats puts it well. He says, oh, and Castor is here with the clutch ass Greek lesson for me. Thank you, Castoris. Kinaidos does mean homosexuals, so I was right in that. But Kinaidos means savage beast-like, so maybe they're related. Whatever. Harlan Goes says, a guy's patches cringe triggers me so hard, which I guess is the point. And that is a salient point, Jesse. Before I wrap things up and get to the paper, let me just say that yes, this will be a delicious treat if Himbo Vegan ever sees this video. Unlikely, but you never know. It's a small world. Yes, he will revel in this. He will revel, and that's part of the point. It's part of, as, what's her name? Nadia Comaneci says, it's part of the system's neatest trick, right? Many people do not understand the roots of their own frustration. They are hemmed in by whatever. you know the thing, right? They co-opt the previous generation's activist issues, and faced with even the most minimal, obscure resistance, they understand themselves to be actually engaged in a fight that is, I don't know, effective or even worth engaging in. It's the idea that if you, how should I say this? If you act like a retard and then people bully you for it, you can expose them for anti-retard sentiment. But motherfucker, you're agitating it in the first place. Like, you're creating the problem yourself. There's another Nadia Comaneci manifesto, though. So let's wrap this shit up, and I'll get to the my magnum opus here in a moment. There was one more thing I had to get to, or two more things. Look at this, though. We found another one in the wild. High number of sexual partners does matter in serious relationships. Agree or disagree? I literally do not give a single shit. As long as you test clean, it's all good. What a romantic. What a romantic. Hey, baby. I want to commit my life to you. Or at least want to fuck you, right? Let's just be real. Oh, wait, no, this is talking about serious relationships. Baby, I want to have a serious relationship with you. Now, I know you just posted recently that you were running a world record 1,000-man gangbang on your OnlyFans. But I don't care. Or dude. I'm guessing this guy's gay as well. Bro. I know you just ran a record setting, because if it's gay, it has to be way higher. I know you just set a record setting 12,000 dudes in 24 hours world record. And your butthole is roped out like a cowboy's lasso at this point. You're actually carrying your descended rectum in a wheelbarrow behind you for how much trauma you put it through. But bro, as long as you test clean, it's all good. Admirable. Admirable shit, bro. So admirable. Okay, yes. So he says, I admit I was wrong and apologize. Why would he apologize? What's going on here? He made a patch for TX2. I don't know. What's TX2? Gross. Oh shit.
Before you fall asleep, remember this. I'm so wide awake, taking the same ditch, I break fingers.
Yo, who was this earlier? Who was it? Was it fucking Northlander? Who said they were into new metal? Northlander, yeah. Bro, Northlander, your ship has come in, bro.
Take bigger hits than any motherfucker try to picture this. I'm the product of chronic illness among kids, yet the
Alright, so maybe it was good for this dude to burn. Maybe it was good for Himbo Vegan to burn the patch. I'm actually on your side on this one. But you liked him in the first place, bro. Like, this wasn't a tip-off? Bro. Unfucking real. And what a name, TX2. What kind of name is that? But what's the story behind this? Why was he wrong? What would cause this bro to burn his patch? Let's get to the story. I don't care about TX2's music, but what did he do? What could he have done? Did he collaborate with Fred Durst? The thing that clinched it for me are the accusations of him misgendering people. Accusations! The main thing I liked him for was his support of queer rights. Shocking. Shocking.
oh my
With
God.
songs like No Love Like Christian Hate. Let's fucking hear what let's hear what this guy has to tell us about Christian hate and queer rights. Randy McNally. Is this an anti-globe song? Is this an anti-globalists? Doesn't Randy McNally make the maps or something? Am I tripping? Who the fuck is Randy McNally? What is that? They make maps, bro. What the fuck? Is this guy an anti-map, anti-navigation guy or something? Anti-Magellanist? See, you got the map in the background, bro. They're preaching these globe heads are preaching a fucking false narrative, bro. Fuck. Is this real? Dude, this shit is not real.
Oh my god!
What is this video? What the fuck? He's about to rip that map up, bro. Oh shit, he did. He pulled the map up. Yeah, get that map out of here.
Put a bullet in a kid's head, think they got a sickness and they're not dressed up straight. But
What?
what happens in the closet doesn't matter if you profit from the flag of the USA.
That's good. What happens in the closet doesn't matter if you profit. Why don't we just end it there, right? What happens if in the closet doesn't matter if you profit, right? Who profits? Who would have vested interest in opening $1 billion industry worldwide into mutilating children and adults? Well, as long as the pharmaceutical industry isn't also getting rich off of incredibly expensive, but then also now state-funded procedures and treatments that are even afforded to people in prison. Yes. I know you're shocked by this. Oh, and I'll be frank, when I just said it right now, I shocked myself. What do you think about that?
Oh shit! Oh shit! Oh shit!
Where is it? Yes, transgender child rapists given free laser hair removal, vaginoplasty, while housed in Washington women's prison. This was just in January, right? Oh, but it never happens, right? Could never happen. And when it happens, it's only a few cases. And when there's many cases, doesn't matter. You're still a bigot, right? Yep. I'm trying. Basically, I'm trying to get to the ones where they're funding it, right? Yep. Look at this woman. Look at this actual woman. Yeah, so okay, so I'm just basically looking for ones where it's like they're forced to pay for this. But there's so many more stories about them just assaulting people that it's hard to find the stories purely about them paying for the procedures and stuff. So there's just way too many stories about trans people being pedophiles and violently attacking people in prison that I can't find singularly the stories. There's just too many pages. There's 61 pages. We don't have time to go through that. I got a fucking paper to read. There's just way too many stories of trans people attacking and abusing people in prison for me to find the stories where we're merely made forced to pay for their procedures, gender-affirming procedures, with our own tax dollars. So I'm abandoning that line of questioning, Your Honor. Oh yeah, and I'm also abandoning that song we were looking at. Whatever. So basically this TX2 guy was accused of misgendering people, even after being correct. There's plenty of other stuff I'm sure everyone else would be happy to fill you in on. I don't know about it. I do, but I'm not even going to say it. I would only say the worst thing, and then tell you that there's many more worse things, but the worst thing I've already basically said, accusations of him misgendering someone. Accusations. Wow. And I'll wrap up with the final humiliation. Again, when you're so ideologically possessed that you humiliate yourself, when you engage in humiliation rituals as a nexus for satanic power, is what I'll say. Ego-driven power, such as this. All right, bro. You do you. And this. Look at this bitch. Absolute bitch. Unfucking real. Yes, exactly. I guess this is him posting it. But bro, you are fucking Zap Brannigan. You fucking bitch. Unreal. Yeah, just absolute degenerate, right? Well, now, I've surely made some enemies here today. And have surely alienated many people, particularly those in the punk scene, particularly those who understand themselves to be virulently anti-racist, anti-homophobia, anti-transphobia, anti-Islamophobia, anti-all lives matter, anti-breast, what do they call it? Augmentation? Anti-big tits. Everything that they view themselves as against is incredibly integral to their view of just viewing themselves in some sense as a radical, as somebody that is on the avant-garde of human rights. So much so that they have to invent new humans to defend the rights of. But how could this be? Come on. Okay. So here we go. Let me get into my thesis for this the betrayal of punk, from rebellion to conformity in the age of woke politics. And again, I know talking about woke is cringe in 2025. Yes, the waves are receding. Only after having turned up the temperature to about 200 degrees, right? So again, you're lulled into a false sense of, the war is over. It's only just begun. That's in defense of using seemingly outdated terms like woke. By Nick Nilsson Slobknobcast. Punk rock and hardcore music were once powerful symbols of defiance, rejecting authority, cultural norms, and oppressive systems. Rooted in a spirit of rebellion, the punk scene thrived on anti-establishment values, questioning everything from political power structures to social expectations. It stood for freedom of expression and individuality, unapologetically challenging the status quo. However, in recent years, the punk scene has undergone a radical transformation. What was once a countercultural movement now seems to have been co-opted by the very forces it once opposed. Instead of confronting the real power structures that maintain social inequality, punk has largely become a mouthpiece for a progressive agenda that often aligns with the global neoliberal order. Yes, I'm talking about you, himbo vegan, you absolute bitch. Vaccinated? Bro, your fucking RNA is compromised. You cannot think straight. Today, many elements within the punk scene openly embrace ideologies such as trans activism, Can you see this? Trans activism, aggressive support for COVID-19 vaccinations. I'm still talking about you, bro. And movements like Black Lives Matter. That also applies to you, bro. These stances, while often well-intentioned on the surface, like, again, I understand. I've been fooled by shit as well. I'm not perfect. They've been strategically weaponized to advance a left-wing technocratic agenda. That probably sounds beautiful to you, bro. But punk's emergence or embrace of these movements can be seen as part of a broader pattern where ideologies such as Black Lives Matter are used as tools of division and control, rather than looking towards healing or genuine societal progress. These movements frequently serve to exacerbate social tensions, divide communities, and promote policies that serve the interests of powerful elites. We know, again, Black Lives Matter. Can any anti-authoritarian person sincerely support Black Lives Matter? I think I go into it here, yeah. For instance, they've been heavily criticized for its connections to wealthy left-wing benefactors like George Soros, and accusations of the role in manipulating electoral outcomes in the U.S. only add to its controversial nature. And again, the fraud is well established. I should have included this. The focus on these movements, however, has been on the symbolic gestures. That's the key. Virtue signaling. Symbolic gestures rather than solving deeper systemic issues that were once the focus of actual civil rights progress decades ago. Well, if these were once legitimate issues, how could they no longer be? What has been lost in the process is the original spirit of punk, a rebellion against the existing power structures. Instead of challenging the true sources of global inequality, such as corporate power, imperialism, and the military-industrial complex, punk has become a tool promoting the very institutions and ideologies that uphold these systems. Punk rock's anti-authoritarian ethos has been replaced by a kind of ideological conformity, where dissent against the current left-wing neoliberal consensus is stigmatized as reactionary or fascist. This transformation mirrors the rise of the woke mind virus, a term that describes the left-wing orthodoxy that permeates institutions around the globe, from academia to the media and corporate boards. In the New World, even punk is complicit in furthering the interests of the elites. The movement's fixation on fighting against supposed Nazis or supremacists is another example of its ideological capture. While standing against racism and bigotry is undoubtedly a noble cause, the current incarnation of the punk scene has become obsessed with rooting out perceived fascism among those who are conservative or merely have ideological differences with the far left. In this context, the term Nazi is wielded indiscriminately, often applied to anyone who stands to the right of Marxist-Leninism. This has created a warped ideological environment where anyone even slightly outside of left-wing orthodoxy is demonized as part of the larger conspiracy of oppression. This redefinition of what constitutes the enemy has shifted the focus of punk from fighting against powerful elites to fighting against an ever-expanding list of ideological enemies, whether they be Christians, conservatives, or anyone that questions the prevailing leftist narrative. What was once a movement about authentic rebellion has now become a platform for ideological purity tests and moral authoritarianism. Let's see. The irony here, as noted by thinkers like Nadia Comaneci in his essay, The Systems Need Is Trick, is that many people, especially those within progressive movements, end up fighting battles that have already been largely won. But how is this possible? Comaneci argues that modern political movements often recycle past struggles without recognizing the progress that has already been made, thus perpetuating a cycle of conflict where no real resolution is ever sought. You need the enemies in order to legitimize your eternal struggle against, fucking, 208 KKK members across the entire United States? There are like 2 or 3 chapters in Arkansas and Alabama. And that, again, it's so, they can never get away from any of the tropes of supposed civil rights championing. Yes, so here we are. The fight for civil rights, for example, was essential to the mid-20th century. But today, much of what is now championed by movements like Black Lives Matter, gender activism, and trans rights has already been integrated into mainstream society, albeit imperfectly. The struggle for equality has largely shifted from being about dismantling actual oppression to defending symbolic causes that serve to solidify leftist dominance in cultural and primarily, I would say, political spheres. We have understood for all of Musk's flaws and how cringe Doge is and whatever, the corruption they've exposed is intent on dismantling one of the largest cases of graft and corruption. And anybody who does not stand behind making the government smaller and have less control, albeit at the cost of, modernizing their systems, which I have many problems with myself, but you'd have to be crazy to oppose that. Curtis Yarvin's concept of the cathedral captures the dynamic well, where various institutions such as the media, government, academia, entertainment converge to create a singular, uniform ideological consensus. The punk scene, once a bastion of rebelliousness against this very convergence, now finds itself entrenched in it. Rather than standing apart from mainstream culture, punk has now become the very mechanism that promotes it. Again, rebellion starts at home. Essentially, if you are not rebelling against the immediate authority in your area, like let's say you've inherited your rebellious values from your parents yourself, like let's say your parents were hippies or bikers or metalheads or punks themselves, you are fucked. Is there any difference between the punk who was raised punk from their parents, raised with those values, and the racist or the KKK member or the Nazi who was raised with those same values? Bitch, are you for real? So again, you are either raised with those values and very much should have an incredible sympathy for people who are indoctrinated to extremist ideologies. You are one yourself. Or you had conservative parents. A lot of punks, especially the crustiest of them, have rich-ass parents. My parents are thoroughly middle class, for sure. I can't deny that. Lower middle class, of course. But even still, the rebellion that you experience should be against that. But if you don't perceive that the larger world is ruled by forces that are incredibly hostile to Christianity, American success, and whiteness in general, and we don't have to get into it, but what's the one group that you are encouraged and celebrated for vilifying? Movies will be made out of you. You can fight these people, you can oppose them, and anybody that actually supports causes that are deemed in allegiance with promoting racial interests are perceived as the lowest tier of society. Absolutely just what would you say? Verboten. There's just absolutely verboten to engage with any kind of nativist element that has a racial component that is not, or that is European. And specifically Northern European as well. The consequence of this ideological shift is profound. Punk rock, which once celebrated nonconformity or rejection of state power. Did I read this already? No. Has largely become the brown shirt. Yes, this was my favorite part. Has largely become the brown shirts of the modern progressive establishment, wielding moral superiority as a weapon to silence dissent and enforce ideological conformity. What was once a radical force has been domesticated, aligning itself with the institutions that punk was originally meant to critique. In its attempt to fight for social justice, the punk scene has been weaponized to promote a worldview which is ironically deeply aligned with the status quo and the forces of neoliberal globalization. Which again, just eviscerates cultures around the world. Oh, so we can see when globalism, puts a fucking factory in India, that's bad. But when it completely erases indigenous European cultures, or when, in the name of diversity and globalization, millions of third world people are made to cohabitate in the modern world, as though that's not going to have a incredible effect on the Constitution and just the general makeup of a nation. Will it improve its integrity? Doubtful. Doubtful. It will fundamentally and radically change a nation. Ultimately, the punk movement's shift towards these causes that are often tied to the global neoliberal agenda. That's you, motherfucker. Marks a profound betrayal of its original anti-establishment principles. Punk rock has gone from being a symbol of rebellion to becoming an arm of the very forces it sought to dismantle. The transformation reflects the broader societal trend where dissent has been co-opted and absorbed into the system, leaving little room for true resistance. Now, I have another thing that gets into death of the world. Like, again, you want to talk about true rebellion, Eastern Orthodoxy. There's a video that I think I'll just close the stream by recommending this. I got this idea for the article based on this video by Harmony, which is an incredible channel. Maybe we'll just watch a little bit of this before we go.
What do we mean by death to the world? The world is the general name for all the passions. When we wish to call them passions by a common name, we call them the world. But when we wish to distinguish them by their special names, we call them...
So it said written by, what is it, Saint Isaac the Syrian, 7th century. I'm going to talk about rebellion.
But when we wish to distinguish them by their special names, we call them passions. The passions are the following: desire for possessions, bodily pleasure from which comes sexual passion, love of honor which gives rise to envy, lust for power, arrogance and pride of position, the craving to adorn oneself with luxurious clothes and vain ornaments, the itch for human glory which is the source of rancor and resentment, physical fear. Where these passions cease to be active, there the world is dead. Someone has said of the saints that while alive, they were dead. For though living in the flesh, they did not live for the flesh. See for which of these passions you are alive. Then you will know how far you are alive to the world, and how far you are dead to it.
Well, you can continue to watch the entire video. It's incredible, about 30 minutes. But yeah, you want to talk about rebellion? That's where it starts. Again, if your worldview is so small that you perceive Christianity, or just the idea of the Ten Commandments, as something that is severing you from living your best life, you know, you've got it all backwards. Essentially, you're the guy who walks on the grass because he reads the "Don't keep off the grass" sign. And there's snakes in that grass, boy. Woo! What a fucking metaphor, guys. Well, I won't keep it going any longer. I want to say shout out to all the boys here. We had Northlander, Isu Wish, Frontitious Wrong, bro. Castorsis Polemicist, bro. So good to see you again, man. Thank you for dropping in. Ghostal was here. We had fucking Heartland Ghost. Jesse the guy was here. Obviously, the Machine Lives repped his set here. Arden Cobb, we won't speak of him. And the inimitable Rusty Shackelford. Boys, thank you so much for your time. I'll try to include whatever relevant links I propose in the description. You can join the Discord, I guess. Don't harass us, though, if you're himbo vegan or whatever. But yeah. Hope you enjoyed the stream, guys. Happy birthday as well to Necro Costco, bro. Happy birthday. But other than that, there's really not much else to say other than thanks for watching, guys. And like the fucking stream. But other than that, I will say no more other than we will see you in the circle.